allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Five, consent agenda. We would need a motion to remove A from the consent agenda and do the corrections and bring it back to the next board meeting.
I'll make a motion to remove A from the consent agenda until the next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Jim?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, then we will do the consent agenda with B, licenses and permits as stated, and C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village.
Make a
If
motion
there-
to approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
I'll second that.
roll call. Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. None. Okay. 7, committee reports. Library board. Jane?
We met last Tuesday, and we approved the adoption of the Village of Hortonville personnel manual, so it would stay in line with the rest of the village staff. Ally presented the library strategic plan for 2025 through 2029. She, along with the planning committee, they put a lot of effort into creating a strategic plan, and they have some really great plans to ensure the library's services, programs, and resources will meet the needs of our community. We also approved turning the limited term summer staff position into a permanent part-time position beginning the 1st of 2025. And our next meeting is on August 27th at 4 p.m.
Any questions for Jane? Okay, we go to 8, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there is none. 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on purchase of new velocity pumper tender for the Hortonville-Hortonia Fire District. And if everyone is in agreement, we will allow Jack to speak so that he can give us any information we may need. So is everyone okay with that? Okay. Then we will, do you want to present it?
I think it's probably better if Jack presents the information on the truck. I know I can talk about finances after he's done with what the need, I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Okay, put a little something together. It's kind of similar to what Nathan had. Dollar amounts, what we can save, or what the village can save,
Thank you.
along with the 2 quotes, which I believe Nathan might have had in there as well. So it kind of breaks down on what a new truck is going to cost. On the top of the first one, the no prepay. The truck came in at the Pierce truck came in at $1,182,700. That was a breakdown for the village of $778, $498.33. For prepay, it'll drop it below $1 million. And then the breakdown is there again for what the cost would be. It's important to get this truck, and the longer we wait, the longer it's going to get pushed back. Right now, the 3421, our first engine, is already out of more water than right away on scene, so. And the Pierce truck, I would prefer the Pierce truck versus the Marion truck. Safety reasons, Pierce has an outstanding crash rollover, which Marion doesn't offer. So for them to be, right now, until tomorrow anyways, a less of a truck dollar-wise.
What is the crash rollover?
What's that?
What's the crash rollover?
So if we'd happen to roll a truck over, everybody is safe. We got this, basically got airbags all the way around the whole top.
So I see a deadline of tonight. Has the town of Portonia already voted on this?
Yep.
They did. Can I ask how they voted? I mean, how did they, which truck did they approve?
Fortunia's already approved it, yes.
The Pierce, okay, right?
Pierce.
Okay.
And they said they were prepaid, right?
They want the prepaid, yep.
Okay.
So as you can see, they'll save like $63,000 by prepaying. And for them being a smaller municipality, that's a lot of money for them.
Any other questions for Jack? No?
If there's a delay, what's the implications of delay?
If there's a delay, what?
Delay purchasing the truck, what are the implications?
Well, it goes up to 184.
Beyond the pricing, so the truck is $19.99, right? So, the standards are there for some reason, so what's the, I mean,
Yeah, so we'd have to get it refurbished in order to get back in NFP standards.
okay.
And that would cost anywhere from $100,000 to $350,000 just to refurbish that truck. Depending on how bad it is. Right now, that frame is rusting, starting to rust, and so it's gonna be closer to $350,000 or more.
Is 20 years normal for?
20 years is NFP standards. They say that a truck, they don't guarantee a truck anything more than 10 years without being refurbished. Of course, that's their selling point. But NFPA standards says 20, so.
And we've got that, so.
What's the plan with the truck we're replacing?
I'm sorry, what?
What's the plan, what we're doing with the truck that we're replacing?
We try selling it. Like the one that we replaced when we got 23, a fire department called Glenn Bueller that played in our softball tournament. We took it to our softball tournament, put up for sales on that, we ended up buying it. They stuck a lot of money into that truck.
And then their timeline is 50 to 53 months. Have they been pretty much sticking to that? Because I know that.
Within the last 3 months, it went from 43 months to 50 months, so.
I guess my question then is, so if it goes like beyond 53, 54 months, is there, I mean, is our truck gonna be okay for that duration of time, or?
Right now, we use that truck as a backup, so we're fine with what we have right now. And then there's also mutual aid, so we call neighbors whenever we need it.
What's the age of the other truck? What's the age of the other truck?
13.
2013?
And that truck we're gonna keep, and that one we'll stick the money into refurbish, that's a really nice truck, so.
How often do you use it? Like you said, it's the backup truck, so like how often is it?
We use this truck when we go on Mavis calls, so our main engine stays in in town. And then
would be worth it or not. What it kind of came down to is whether or not the village board would be willing to increase rates this year, potentially to help pay for it. If we weren't going to increase rates, you're basically saving $10,000 by prepainting. So it's worthless. If you increase rates to cover a little more of that principal pay down, you'd end up saving potentially a few $100,000 more. So basically, the interest in the center there on the screen, that 268, that's what you'd be paying in interest if you did a prepay with a tax increase. The tax increase would be about $36,000, which would equate to about $13 or $14 to $16 for a household of $150,000 assessed. So if you have a $300,000 assessed house, you double that amount, so you're looking at 32, 36 maybe, of increase in taxes, but you're gonna end up saving a few $100,000 in total over the life. The issue just comes down to basically the main thing is our main building here comes off in 2033, so to do a high amount of pay down right away is hard for us right now without increasing the tax rate. So that would be my suggestion, is if you guys were good with about a $36,000 increase in the debt, we'd be able to pay it down a lot quicker. Basically, by 2033, if you did the raise in taxes, you'd have only $212,000 left, rather than if you did the prepay without the increase in taxes, you would have $524,000 left in principal to pay. So this would be a 9 and a 4 months year note with the bank and with a balloon payment at the end, which would give us some flexibility in how we want to pay it off after 2033, when this building comes off and we have a lot more room to play with. So I put in here just basically paying it off in 2 years, but you could extend that out. It's up to the board at that time, would be the idea. That would be my suggestion, which gets us through. It's our best bet if you're going to do any prepayment without potentially, I mean, obviously the biggest thing that's up in the air is Main Street. We have no clue what that's going to cost us. So right now it's keeping it at, you know, a lower rate, paying it over a longer period of time would be better than trying to front load some of the payments down right away. Because then you're going to definitely have to increase when we get the potential bill for downtown. So I think this is our best chance to minimize that burden. Otherwise, I would say that we'd be better off not prepaying. It still would be better for us to go with the Pierce product, just because of when that, it's closer to 2033 when that truck would be delivered, and that's when you do your payment. So it'd be easier for us to fund that at that point, but it still has its other issues. You're pushing it down the road. We don't know what the interest rates are going to be. They could be higher, they could be lower. About a 1% decrease estimated would be about $100,000 in savings. So if interest rates did drop a lot, you'd probably save more by waiting, but it's hard to predict that. It could go up to 18%. You know, it's hard to predict that. It's easier to do, I would think, the tax increase. That would be my suggestion.
But if you were to push it off, then you would have the, without the prepay, then you've got the big balloon payment in 2033, but then you also have the expense of refurbishing the other truck at the same time.
Right.
Which is not an ideal scenario.
Yeah, and then our tender's gonna come up before that, but that won't be nearly as much because obviously there's less gadgets to it.
The other
That's
potential.
2005, but
I was just gonna say, the only other thing is with Hortonville really wanting to prepay it, I think it would be hard for us to say that we wanna push it off without potentially having to just have them prepay us and we sit on their money, which also is a problem.
I agree.
So,
They're looking at it differently than we are. They're looking at it that they have cash on hand and how much money can they make with that cash.
right.
Versus we have to borrow and pay interest, which is gonna be, the cost to be, our cost to be more than what their gain would be.
The other thing to keep in mind is if both of us decided to not prepay, the cost is gonna increase for us every year by a good amount. It'll decrease for them, because it's based off the equalized value, and every single year that I've been here, we increase in equalized value more than they do. So the projection for next year is we're gonna increase by 0.63%, which equates to about $6,000 extra for this truck for us. So over 5 years, depending on what we do for development wise in comparison to them, it could end up costing us more money too.
And that increase in property taxes would be effective for 2025?
Yeah, it'd be this upcoming year.
But we wouldn't make that official, I mean, we would tentatively make that decision, but it wouldn't happen until we do budget.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, the debt mill rate would be at a set rate. I mean, there's nothing we could do about that. The only thing that could fluctuate still at that time is whether or not you wanted to lower the village mill rate, not the debt, the general fund, I should say.
And would it show up on the tax bill as,
It would just be a
Fire-
tax increase.
just shows up in the general tax? Okay.
And what did you say, what is, for 100,000 or 150,000?
$150,000 assessed house, it would be about $16 or so, give or take. So,
And what happens once this is paid off? Taxes go down?
no. I mean, technically, it's up to the board at that time if they want to use that debt structure to keep it at the same rate. They can drop it. Same thing with the building year. You know, 2033, the debt comes off. The board at that time can decide whether or not they want to keep the debt at the same rate or they want to drop it down. So I can't tell you that it's going to drop off because it's going to be up to that board at that time if they want to.
I asked the question because this board of 7 is sitting here this evening, but during budget could be potentially 4 different people. After, no, wait,
No.
no, never mind. I'm thinking election.
Different election.
Different election. Okay, so it would be this board. It would be this
Yes.
board. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that we're not.
Running for president?
No, I'm not running for president. Good Lord, no.
So basically, tonight, you need a motion to accept the Pierce truck.
If that's what you would like, yes, with a prepay. I already talked with the Wolf River Bank. They'll match the BCPL loan rate that the state puts out, which is at 6%.
How long would that loan be for?
So it'd be 4 months and 9 years. And then there would be there would be a balloon payment at the end for $212,916.91 is my estimate right now. We'd have the amortization schedule that will be
contract for Pierce Manufacturing, including the prepay, in the amount of, what is ours? Is this the right number here? 778?
no, it's 656, 781.
$656,781.57.
I have one more question for Jeff. Is there any chance that the lead time would go down? No chance.
Mysteriously, if something great would happen, yeah, but I don't. It's going the opposite way, it's going longer.
Do you need anything else added to that motion, Nathan,
No.
at this time?
No, I'll
Okay.
bring a loan back next meeting.
Okay, then we would need a
I'll
second.
second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Jack, go order the truck.
Right?
Has to be
You
ordered
guys
by
sit
You
midnight.
talk to him?
Huh?
You talk to him.
Thanks.
Do you want us, you got everything you need to send to the
Yep.
lady attorney? Okay.
So you're gonna send it out? You're sending out the order?
Yep.
Okay,
Gotta send it over tonight.
okay.
Thanks, Jack.
Perfect, thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
B, discussion and possible action on veteran grave payment.
One second here.
Need page through 40 pages of stuff here.
Page 53. Sorry, there was an error in our debt schedule, so it wasn't supposed to all be in there. But this is a reimbursement we get every year from the county for the veterans' graves. Yeah. That's a standard reimbursement request, and our total is $209.88.
You just need this is what we do every year. Do we just need to make a motion?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion, to request the reimbursement from Outagamie County in the amount of $209.88 for the veteran grave payment.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on discussions with the county to take over parcel 240065001.
So, this parcel is basically the entrance to the Waiwash Trail. Came up when we were getting when the railroad was going through and updating their area. We kind of looked at it, and it's our property technically, but I mean, it's not like we can sell it, so my suggestion would be to try to give it to the county to maintain it, because otherwise we're gonna probably be liable for the road condition, and I don't see a reason why we want that.
So we're talking about from the main road, across the railroad tracks, and then the parking lot?
The parking lot's theirs.
Okay,
We
so the
own-
road between.
So we own that sliver,
Yeah.
which is basically the road to the train tracks right away, and that's it. Everything after that is the train or the county's.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, I would pursue talking with the county to take it over and try to get them to.
What do you need?
I would need a motion to kind of pursue that.
I'll make a motion to pursue turning the lot 0650-1 over to the county.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. D, discussion and possible action on assessor contract 2025 through 2029.
That the second we had our last market rate correction done, the next year it was already down 10%. So basically the idea would be to have a market update in 25 and then 2028.
And we'll pay them every year.
Yep, we pay them, so how I had it set up was that it was a flat fee yearly. So that the cost of those updates were split between all of the 5 years.
Any questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion.
The lowest bid was the Bomar appraisal, by $5,000 difference. So
That's the 82.
82.5.
I'll make a motion to approve Volmar contract for appraisal in the amount of $82,500.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. E, discussion and possible action on agreement between Outagamie County and the Village of Hortonville for the acquisition of parcel 24001-6000.
So this is for the Schwann Oil property to take it over.
Well, we have to give them a couple $100 or something like that.
Yeah,
$150.
initially we were told it was gonna be nothing, but I didn't really wanna spend an hour back and forth with them. It ended up costing us about $100 in fees anyway.
So they want $150.
Yeah, most of it comes back to us anyway because it's our taxes that were collected, so it ends up being not worth our time to argue it.
And there's no other taxes, anything like that?
No, the taxes that are listed here is what's here.
Okay.
So it's 150.63 plus this year's taxes. There was gonna be on that property the amount from Alley 3, but we kind of knew going into Alley 3 we weren't gonna get that back. So, yeah.
So we need a motion then.
Make a motion to approve the agreement between Outagamie County and the Village of Hortonville for acquisition of parcel 240016000. Do you need the amount? No.
150.63.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action on ordinance O-09-24, road permitting oversight and fees.
Sure.
So this is basically a reworking of our ordinance for working the right of way. It just makes it easier for us to deal with large scale projects that go like through the whole village. So we're working with a consultant and our attorney to kind of reword this so that in the future we can better deal with large scale projects.
Did you get the email yesterday, some of the things that are missing on here?
Yep,
Oh,
we send it back to them and they fixed it.
Is this like anew?
So on the last page, 12, I think it is, of this, it shows the ordinance that's being replaced.
Pick a name.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. G, discussion and possible action on MCC final payment application for Wild Wind Phase 2 and Alley Number 3.
So this would just be the final payment for the paving that was done last year and the fixes that were done this spring.
Well, we're happy with everything, residents are happy with everything.
Engineer took a look at it. It should be good to go.
The only reason I was doing that, the resident I don't think is probably happy. She still wants, there's little cracking at the edges of her driveway. Our engineering, we go off what our engineering firm says, and they said it's not
Without a curb and gutter, there's nothing to really hold that edge. So I mean, it's the same on any other street that doesn't have that curb to kind of hold the edge in.
They come back,
They come back and fix the
They
crack
come
and
in.
stuff that was in the middle and that spalling that kind of happened on the first round that they did it.
The only question I have is, in all the engineering information here, it just references like paving and roadway reconstruction. It doesn't say specific alley 3.
because it's Wildwind Phase 2 top layer as well.
Correct, but then there's no reference to alley 3 in any of that. And I just want to make sure that, because like if you look certification of payment, it says project 2023 Wildwind 2 paving and miscellaneous roadway reconstruction. And I don't know if we just want to make sure that that's noted for the future, so that was alley 3.
I mean, it's on this thing.
I was
The
trying to
second
find
one
it.
says alley 3,
The second one does?
Schedule B, Schedule A, Schedule B.
So that's where the costs for LA3 are in Schedule B.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure, just so that it's clearly marked, so that a future, somebody looking at this, it's clear that it's what it was for.
Yeah, it says A is Wildwind 2 upper, Schedule B is alley 3.
Okay, I see
C is
it.
Douglas, which is taken out, and
Okay.
D is eligible driveway.
Okay. But then on that certificate for payment, I don't know, we just probably want to make sure it's noted in the minutes.
No.
6,400.
Hold that one up, this one.
Okay. All right.
This is the one that we did that out. That one got pushed.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the final payment
That's all crossed.
for to McMahon for the 2023 Wildland 2 paving and miscellaneous, including the alleyway 3 construction or reconstruction in the amount of $6,433.35.
I'll second that.
It's to MCC.
Oh, to MCC? Sorry.
McMahon made the payments before.
Sorry, to MCC.
Roll call. Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. H, discussion and possible action on renewing Appleton Alliance contract.
So the only thing that's changed in this contract was the dates. I just kept it at a 3-year.
Any questions?
This is an agreement that wasn't drawn up by our current attorney, it was drawn up by our previous one. So just FYI there, but yeah.
Are there any issues?
Nope. I mean, I guess, in here,
In the
we haven't had
contract.
issues with the contract so far at all.
Okay.
I didn't send it to our current attorney to look over, but, yeah.
Have there been any like residents that
The problem, the reason we went this route was the amount of, the cost that it was on the department and the village was more than what we were charging. So we were losing money every single day we rented, and we were losing money on upkeep and everything for years.
There were some large things,
expenses,
yeah, roof and
So-
boiler and.
Yeah, they put a whole HVAC system in the last time. They helped pay for, they split cost on the parking lot and stuff. So I think realistically, I would say the benefits as of right now of them helping with some of these larger things has had a larger impact for us going forward if you want to keep that building in the future, because it's going to have less expense. And we really don't have funds now to necessarily stick into it, where we may, further on down the road, probably after 2033, maybe, I don't know. But that would be, I think, one of the better times to kind of look at doing an update or something, but.
I do see in the future people wanting to rent that again. I personally rented
Right.
it for many, many events, and it's a beautiful building, but I think from a village perspective right now, it's financially better for us right now to let them continue to use it. It's well maintained, there's no issues. They're doing work on it that we technically can't afford to pay for right now, so.
are they open to having other people rent while they're there?
No.
No.
That was,
That was a discussion when we first started this lease.
yeah, and I can talk to you later about why, but
That's all I was curious
Yeah.
about. Sounds-
they have a lot of equipment up in the room that they don't want to have to take down every single time, which is part of it.
Okay.
They've been very good stewards.
I believe
Yeah.
that. I've had some people say, just be curious about like, when can we use it? And
I
know
think
that
you'll
it's-
see it in the future, once they've, they typically take over I've seen this church go into different towns and take over buildings and then eventually save enough money and build a new facility, and I'm sure that would probably happen eventually, but right now I think it's in our best interest to let them rebuild basically that building. So by the time we get it back, it's
Yeah.
pretty darn good shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought too. I'll make a motion to renew the Appleton Alliance contract as presented.
Second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. I, discussion and possible action on well number 2 backup generator.
So this was part of our original Alonzo Park upgrades contract with the splash pad and park. The other part of that project was a backup generator to power our well, as well as the lift station across the street by Quick Trip. We just bid the construction out separately. So 4 bids came in. The lowest was Mueller Electric at $135,000, which is quite a bit lower than what we were anticipating. So we did get some references from them and called the references other villages that they work with, and everybody's been really happy with their work. So this would be a natural gas generator that would just kick on and power the well, as well as the lift station across the street, so that our crews don't have, that's one less thing that they have to worry about in the power outage.
And this is the same one that would be the splash pad?
Yeah, same area.
This is already baked into the numbers for the
The
budget.
splash pad stuff is separate. This is water sewer. We had, in the finances, we had about 60 grand that we were gonna put towards a loan, because we were expecting it to come in about 2 times that amount. So basically, we're still debating whether it makes sense to take out a loan or just take a negative year this year for the water sewer, and then
We have 60 in water and 60 in sewer.
So, yeah.
We almost have the whole thing already.
Oh, okay.
Thinking that it was gonna be much higher.
So we're 15 grand off, which we can either charge down or increase the debt if we wanted to pay for it.
What's the life expectancy of it?
I think I saw 20 years, if I remember correctly.
And does it, is it, so it just as a, it's a backup emergency generator, so it doesn't run all the time?
Correct.
And this is in lieu of you dragging out the units separately
Yeah.
every time you need it.
And where does this go?
Will sit in a fenced-in area right outside the well house building. Kind of like our one at the other well.
For those that don't know, on a power outage, our guys have to go around to all the lift stations and circulate consistently every hour to pump them down. We have 3 of them with
Yeah,
no
with a portable
backup
generator.
with a portable generator. So as of right now, they got to go to all 3 to pump them down. The goal is to get them all so they're automatic, so we don't have to
People running.
eventually, when sometimes the power goes out and we don't know it's going to be back on, we go to a 24-hour schedule in which the guys are switching, and there's one person on at night to basically continuously pump them down so people don't have sewage back up into their house. The other thing that this would help with is we only have 1 well that has a backup generator now. So if that generator blew during a power outage, we would have no water in the village. So this would be a backup, so we'd have two wells to pull from during an outage, if one of them blew.
Any questions? Otherwise, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the generator, the backup.
For Miller Electric.
Award contract H004092300665 to Mueller Electric for the amount of $135,000 for the water pump backup generator.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer, Jane is out. B, director of public works, Aaron.
I did not have a report, I was on a vacation, but we had a pre-construction meeting for Mill Street project, which will be starting in September. We're scheduling a pre-construction meeting for the splash pad project, which should take place here in the next week or 2, and then we'll have a schedule for construction on that. And there is annual meeting for Bold on August 19th.
Is that meeting for the splash pad public?
No.
The pre-construction, no, it's just with our engineer and the contractor, just to work out a
Setting
timeline for
timelines.
when they're gonna start doing stuff.
Do you have any idea or when it'll start?
I'm guessing probably, hopefully around the same time, in September. The whole thing won't be ready until next spring.
Any other questions? C, police chief.
My report is in the packet.
I have a question, Chief. The AED that was at Hortonville, that moved to the new location,
That moved to Miller Park.
to Miller Park? Okay. Where at Miller Park?
It's in the women's restroom area. We decided to put it, well, it needs to be someplace out of the sun because they're heat and cold sensitive. So, so we placed it in there, and then we placed an AED's plastic sign out, out right by the women's bathroom there. It's got an alarm on it. We're hoping that, I mean, there's a camera there too, so we can see who goes in and out because if somebody goes in to try to damage it.
There's also the Pulse Point AED app, so I can go down and take a picture of it. Because what it'll do is if you get it, long story short, if somebody needs CPR, it alerts you if you have it on your phone. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I was just curious where that ended up.
Any other questions for Chris? D, library director, and Ally is out. E, attorney, Ashley.
We have a new attorney starting, so I'm really excited about that. His name is Tyler Pluff. We'll bring him around for a meeting so he can introduce himself to you at some point too.
Any questions for Ashley? Okay, F, administrator.
So most of last week doing financials and debt stuff. Other than that, working on zoning code updates, stuff, basically accessory buildings right now. Yeah, that's kind of about it.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, G, building permit report. It is in the packet.
Do we have
Do
like
you-
special, do we have special rates for the schools, or is it just for, so they're doing like a $250,000 project and they have a $50 fee? Or is it just for a roof?
Oh, they get different rates.
Yeah.
This is what we've always kind of done with them. That's something that they've done, basically, they've used our rates basically to argue against Greenville from charging them like $19,000 was one of their permits that they tried to make them pay, and they decided that they wouldn't do that anymore, so.
Okay.
We keep them low and they keep them low as well, and we just, because it doesn't help to just take all the money from the school district for that type of stuff, so, yeah.
Do you know when Underdog Storage is starting to build? It said it'll be in next month's list on the building report? No?
It's bad, I really don't. After the approvals on that stuff, I'm not really out there much. I haven't seen it start building. Paul kind of deals with that, and I can
Okay.
try to get an update.
They did some test bits, I know I saw a little while back, as far as I've seen them get.
I think he said something about September, but it might be sometime this month too. I know they were looking at starting soon.
That'd be good. People are asking. Any other questions on the building permits? H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Okay. 11, communication and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News. Bob?
As Aaron mentioned, our annual meeting is the 19th of this month, and the agenda is listed in the packet.
Any questions for Bob?
Is the plan to expand the area for the tax levy?
Yeah. To help generate, there's a lot of, we discussed this here at our last meeting, a lot of area that's not included, people that are benefiting, but they're also contributing to the load on the lake and things, and they're not listed in there, so. The next step is going with the agenda at the meeting.
Yeah, and then
To
they
vote
vote
on
on it.
Is that expansion enough, or are you considering increasing the tax levy as well?
No.
No,
Nothing.
just the area.
Just
So
the
it's
That
area.
expansion won't be
Okay.
until next year, not this year's.
Okay.
So basically, what they're doing at this annual meeting is getting getting the group to agree to go forward with it.
Okay.
And we gotta do the study, send it to the county. There's a process the county has to actually force them into the district. So.
Okay, then we will move to B, Hortonville Hortonia Fire District News. Jim?
There's none.
C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Reports and News. There is none. D, Hortonville Civic Association. Jane?
Nothing other than keep September 21st available for Oktoberfest. It's 11 to 5. And anybody who would like to volunteer, I'd be happy to hear from you.
Okay, we'll go to E, Senior Activities Committee, and it is in the packet. 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. There are none. 13, I would need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned at 6:50.